In the original Dragon Ball story, Goku goes Super Saiyan after the death of Krillin. And that's cool and all, but why didn't Gohan go Super Saiyan when Piccolo died?
Because it wasn't introduced yet, you goofball.
Oh yeah, right. Well, what if it was? How would this affect the Dragon Ball story?
I don't know. Tell us.
Maybe I would if you shut up. We jump into the timeline right as Piccolo jumps in the way to save Gohan, with Gohan having to watch Piccolo's body fall to the ground lifeless, triggering the Super Saiyan transformation in the young Saiyan, causing his power to skyrocket, as Vegeta's face would morph into one of horror, and Nappa asks,
"Hey Vegeta, what's his power level?"
With Vegeta not being able to utter a single word before Gohan already would shoot a Masenko at Nappa, killing him. So Vegeta, knowing he's next, immediately shoots an artificial moon into the air, halving his power in a desperate attempt to kill the kid. But he makes a grave mistake, because Gohan has a tail as well, meaning not only does he transform, but Gohan does as well, meaning he'd have an uncontrollable golden great ape in his hands, with a power level of 150,000. As this happens, Goku would arrive to the battlefield, only to see Vegeta getting absolutely stomped in a Great Ape battle, and Goku would hardly recognize Gohan, since his key signature changed so much in a span of 1 minute. So he would try to calm Gohan down, but it would be completely useless, and Gohan would send Goku flying into a mountain, as Vegeta would yell at Goku to help him cut the brat's tail off, saying, "If he's not stopped, this planet will be destroyed." And Goku, knowing he has no other choice, would help Vegeta cut Gohan's tail off, and eventually, they're able to do so, with Vegeta having served as a distraction, with Goku using a ki blast to shoot Gohan's tail off. And after Gohan would lose his Ozaru transformation, he'd be knocked out, as Goku would now have to deal with a much weaker Vegeta with a power level of 30,000, which would still give Goku problems considering he took some damage to Gohan's Great Ape form, so his power level would be around 7,000. And using the Kaioken would be able to keep up with Vegeta, being a lot faster than the beat up Prince, so he'd be able to take on Vegeta long enough for Yajirobe to cut his tail off, and give Goku the edge in combat, and ultimately defeat Vegeta without the Spirit Bomb, letting him leave the planet like in canon, and ultimately having to go to Namek in search of the Dragon Balls, with one major change to the story being Bulma and Krillin are the first to go to Namek, because Goku decides to take Gohan with him to train and try to get Gohan to activate the Super Saiyan form again, since Vegeta definitely would have mentioned it before leaving Earth. So Goku and Gohan both get massive boosts in power before arriving to Namek, and this means Krillin and Bulma have to keep a low profile, not engaging with Vegeta, so he would have never even been aware of them being on Namek, and Krillin doesn't even get a power boost because he sadly wouldn't save Dende, playing it safe, with this also meaning that when the Ginyu Force arrives to the planet to give Frieza the new Scouters, Vegeta is by himself, and considering he would be alone to face the Ginyu Force, he would lose and would be taken back to Frieza, where he'd be held hostage and forced to watch Frieza make his wish, which wouldn't work. So once Goku and Gohan arrived to Namek, they would fly toward Bulma and Krillin, where they're informed of Frieza's success in collecting the Dragon Balls, but wouldn't know why he hasn't used them yet, deciding to fly to the location of the Dragon Balls, while Frieza flies directly to Guru to find out more on this issue. And so, Gohan, Krillin, and Goku would fight the Ginyu Force, with Goku and Gohan making quick work of them. So the Ginyu Force would be defeated, and Vegeta would be saved by Goku, who tosses him a Senzu Bean, with Vegeta joining them and taking Frieza down, as Goku tries to use the Dragon Balls, but realizes it doesn't work for some reason, when suddenly, a voice would begin to speak to Goku, telling him they have a password, and that Frieza is currently threatening his life, telling Goku he will help him since he can sense he's pure of heart, only asking for him to defeat Frieza, with Goku promising to do so. With this, Guru telepathically tells Goku what to say, as he would roughly ask for his wish, bringing Piccolo back to life and wishing for everyone killed by Frieza to be brought back to life, as from here, the dragon tells Goku this can't be done, as Goku would be about to make his next wish, when suddenly, Frieza would kill Guru once he realizes the orbs are being used by someone else, and the Z Fighters realize that Frieza's now heading their way, so they immediately get ready to fight Frieza, who flies in, ready to absolutely destroy them, not knowing that Gohan is a Super Saiyan, so once Frieza would arrive, he would congratulate the group on ruining his plans and say, "Now you're gonna die," as he would shoot a death beam at Goku, who deflects it and rushes in at Frieza, being caught off guard by Goku, who would manhandle him in his first form with a power level of 120,000 because he trained with Gohan, and Gohan would have a power level in base of 95,000. So with Goku's Kaioken times 10, he's able to beat Frieza, who only has a power level of about 500,000. So watching this, the rest of the group would be in awe, all but Gohan, who would have a huge smile on his face. That is, until Frieza creates separation between Goku and himself, powering up to his final form, and in Frieza fashion, laugh, calling Goku a monkey, and begin to beat on Goku, who even with a Kaioken times 20 isn't enough for Frieza anymore. So immediately, Gohan jumps into the Super Saiyan form with a bit of struggle, as he yells out, "Hold on, Dad!" and rushes at Frieza, together with Goku, and begins to take control of the fight again. But Frieza would power up further, showing them that they were doomed from the start, as he would then send Goku crashing to the ground with the whip of his tail and shoot a death beam at Goku, who would dodge them all, but would fight Frieza, who completely outclasses him in every department. And Goku jumps back in the battle to try to help Gohan, but would be severely damaged by Frieza's death beams that would pierce his body and send him flying to the ground. With this, Goku's forced to take a Senzu bean and rush back into the fight with a Zenkai boost, raising his power level to easily 3 million. And with his Kaioken, fare a lot better than Gohan. But still, Frieza toys with Goku, and eventually he gets tired of fighting two monkeys, so he would shoot a death ball at the two, who try to stop it together, but it'd be no use. And right before it completely consumes them, Goku awakens the Super Saiyan transformation out of sheer desperation and anger at his weakness, so he would immediately disperse the death ball and fly at Frieza, as he destroys him mentally and physically, defeating the Emperor, as he would try to show him mercy, but Frieza wouldn't care much for it, and Goku would have to blast Frieza with a Kamehameha wave, killing Frieza, as he then gives Gohan a Senzu Bean, who would get a massive Zenkai boost from this, with the group eventually returning to Earth, where they'd eventually make a couple of wishes for the Namekians, and eventually, the day would come where Trunks arrives to the present timeline, but finds nobody there. Puzzled by this, he would fly to Goku's house, where he would tell Goku about the androids and find out about Frieza's death, shocking Trunks as he realizes this timeline's different, and eventually promises to return in 3 years. So with this information, the Z Fighters train for the next 3 years, and since Goku never went to Yardrat, he never gets the virus and he can't teleport, but he can fight the androids unlike in canon. So this is sort of a win-win. Because of this, Goku's able to defeat the fat android, and Gohan would be able to defeat Dr. Gero, beating him easily, as once this happens, Trunks would arrive and be told the androids were defeated, as he'd be told that they were weak by Vegeta, and Trunks would be more than confused, but would chalk it up to this timeline being different, and return to his timeline after a bit of training with Goku, meaning the real androids would be asleep, and Cell would be able to absorb them easily when the time comes. After becoming perfect, Cell would announce the Cell games, knowing that there's no way any of them could ever hope to defeat him. And so, the training in the hyperbolic time chamber would begin, with Goku training with Vegeta this time, because Piccolo would ask Goku to train with Gohan, even if only for 6 months. And honestly, Goku would be fine with that, saying they can train for the full year. And so, Gohan and Piccolo train for a year in the time chamber, while Goku and Vegeta train in the chamber instead of the original cast, giving them both access to Super Saiyan Grade 4, with Gohan training with Piccolo, making him dramatically stronger than before. I'd say about Vegeta's level when he exited the chamber. So with all this, eventually, Goku would enter the time chamber with Gohan for another year, and train Gohan to defeat Cell, knowing Gohan has it in him. And through their training, Gohan would tap into the power of Super Saiyan 2, since even in the normal timeline, we saw Gohan nearly tap into this power. So with one more year of training, I definitely believe he would do it. So with this, we eventually would jump to the battle between Goku and Cell, with Goku saying, "I quit," after a brief tussle with Cell, and he'd then toss Cell a Senzu Bean, saying, "Good luck." you're gonna need it. As Gohan steps up to Cell with a fire in his eyes, immediately jumping into Super Saiyan 2, shocking everyone, especially Piccolo, as Gohan would punch Cell through a mountain and chase him down, as from there, he quickly dismantles him before then punching Cell into the air and blasting him with a full power Kamehameha, destroying every atom of Cell's body, as Gohan would smile and everyone would be shocked. And yes, I mean everyone, including the world, who saw this live on television, with Gohan being acknowledged as the strongest fighter on Earth, as he rightfully should have been in the original. Because of this, Gohan's family would be rewarded with a boatload of money for this, and we'd get a 7-year time skip with us jumping into Gohan's point of view as he walks into a classroom and everyone immediately recognizes him, as he'd be treated a lot differently than in the original story, with everyone knowing he's the strongest fighter. So this Gohan wouldn't have to deal with Videl blackmailing him. Instead, she challenges him to a fight with him winning easily and her not liking him for it, but eventually she gets a liking for him and they'd openly flirt in this timeline, eventually inviting her to train with him, as this time there would be no martial arts tournament arc because Gohan has no reason to join since he doesn't need the money, and if he wants to spar with his dad, he can do so somewhere else. Plus, Vegeta and Goku have battles all the time, so he's not fiending for it. So the Supreme Kai would have to locate Goku and tell him about the plan to stop Majin Buu from being revived, and Goku and Gohan would go along with him as they fly to the tournament, where they find Spopovich and Yamu flying toward Babidi, with them both being taken out by Babidi for failing to get Ki, and Goku and Gohan would enter the ship only to be met by weak opponents, as they would easily blow by them until Deborah reveals himself and would be quickly disposed of, followed by Babidi, meaning Buu's resurrection would be completely avoided, and with this, we jump into the Battle of God's Arc. Just like in the original story, once Beerus wakes up, he would make his way to Earth in search of the Super Saiyan God. However, unlike in canon, Buu wouldn't be alive to bother Beerus like he would have in the original, so Vegeta's pride remains intact, and once the party was about to end, Whis would finally remind Beerus of why they're there in the first place, as Beerus would ask Goku if he knows about the Super Saiyan God, and Goku would say he doesn't, as he would ask Vegeta, but after he says no, Beerus goes on to say it's a shame, he was looking for a rival, but that would be when Goku would say, "Oh, why didn't you say so?" calling Gohan over, as he would tell Beerus Gohan's the strongest one there, and Beerus would happily accept the challenge, as they would square off and Gohan taps into his ultimate power, as Beerus asks if he's not going to use his Super Saiyan transformation, and Gohan cockily answers, "I don't need it," as he would rush Beerus and would perform a lot better than Goku, but would still be taken out relatively quickly. As from here, Goku, who was watching this whole fight go down, would then remember the Dragon Balls and ask Shenron, as they would be told about Yamoshi, and once the Z Fighters find out about the Super Saiyan God, the ritual would be performed on Gohan. Right after this, Gohan and Beerus would clash like Goku would against Beerus in canon, but ultimately, Gohan wouldn't be enough. He definitely would be very impressive though. His Super Saiyan God power would be like that of Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. And I already know what the comments are gonna say. Isn't that a bit much, Xehther? But think about it. It's Gohan. He managed to get as strong as Goku and Vegeta by just unlocking Gohan Beast, and that doesn't even have God Ki in it, mind you. That said, after this, we would get a scene with Beerus saying goodbye, and eventually we would find ourselves in Goku's point of view while he would be training with Vegeta and Whis on Beerus' planet, since of course Goku and Vegeta would have found a way to train on Beerus' world. And just like in the original, Champa would arrive on Beerus' planet in search of the Super Dragon Balls, and so we would end up getting the setup for the Universe 6 vs 7 tournament for the Super Dragon Balls. And this time, when Gohan would be recruited in this timeline, Gohan would accept, knowing that he's the strongest one there, even with Goku and Vegeta having trained this entire time with Beerus and unlocking Super Saiyan Blue. Nothing here changes thematically, however, and this arc would go by exactly the same, until Goku's fight with Hit, of course, which would be an incredible fight to watch. However, after Goku would be defeated, Gohan would step in to fight Hit, and during this match, it would become painfully clear how much stronger Gohan is, considering over the course of these last couple months, Gohan wasn't just sitting down, he would occasionally train, and that occasional training would get him way beyond the level of Hit, so he would be able to take him out very quickly, and so we would eventually have Zeno arrive on the planet, with Goku doing his usual shenanigans, and eventually we would get the setup for the Tournament of Power, as now we're free to jump into the Gohan Black arc, which, actually thinking about it, would be very interesting, considering this Gohan never learned his lesson about finishing the job quickly. So this means that Goku's bad habit of pacing himself would rub off on him, and so Gohan Black would be able to learn a lot about Gohan, make his way back to the future timeline, unlock Super Saiyan Rose, and so once Goku, Vegeta, Trunks, and Gohan would return to the future, they would find Gohan Black there only to be absolutely demolished. In the original timeline, we get Goku Black, and we saw just how quickly he grew with that of his Zenkai boosts, as well as Goku's potential. Now, he has Gohan's, who has a massively larger potential and has access to Super Saiyan Rose, an ability that not even Gohan himself has access to. So with that being the case, Gohan Black would absolutely demolish Gohan. With the battle being so unbelievably lopsided, it would be embarrassing. Gohan would get pummeled by a warrior who actually would take advantage of Gohan's massive potential. And so here, I can definitely see Gohan having a character moment where he realizes he needs to take advantage of his own potential and stop getting lazy, stop getting complacent, and really just go for it. His dad's not always going to be around, and with him being the most powerful one here, he has to take on that mantle. And so, Gohan would return to the past, where he would train in the hyperbolic time chamber with Goku over the course of 1 year. And after the training would be completed, Gohan would have reached a brand new height that could have never been imagined in the Dragon Ball Super timeline at this point. And Goku would have ended up reaching the same exact power that Gohan Black had in the future timeline, with Gohan having unlocked a new domain of power. Combining his Super Saiyan God form with his ultimate form, Gohan would tap into a completely unfair levels of power. Think Black Frieza. And while I know this sounds completely fanficky, think about it. For just 10 seconds, Gohan in the real story, by reaching just his beast form alone, was stated to be as strong as Goku and Vegeta. And keep in mind, he doesn't have God Ki in the original timeline. And in this story, we're adding God Ki to the power he already has access to, with training with Goku in the time chamber. So this Gohan would be beyond anything that we've seen in the Dragon Ball story, and once he would return to the future, things would not be pretty at all for Gohan Black, who would be repaid the favor for embarrassing Gohan in their last battle, as Gohan would practically one-shot him, and after this, they would realize that they can't defeat Zamasu by regular means. So Zamasu would begin getting beat on by Gohan by hours, just like Broly would have done to Frieza in the Dragon Ball Super Broly movie. And so, eventually, once they would find a way to contain him, he would be taken care of. So once that happens, they would eventually return to their own timeline, meaning the future timeline would be safe this time around, and now having nothing but the Tournament of Power to look forward to, that's exactly what we're going to be focusing on. However, here's where I need to ask you guys a question. Who in the Tournament of Power is going to be challenging Gohan? Yeah, I didn't think there was anybody. And with that being said, I couldn't possibly even see a compelling way to write this arc. So I think this is where we're going to be leaving this video off. So if you've made it to the end of the video, then please consider leaving a like and a comment, since it'll help this video do so much better in the algorithm, and more people like you can get to enjoy this video while they clean, do their homework, drive, do an essay that they need to procrastinate on, or anything of that note. So with all that said, it has been your boy Xehther. I love you all. Peace.